Hi everyone and welcome to the Hubcast with me, Michelle Craig. We're at Brightfield Business Hub. Not so sunny this time as last time, but it's getting there. Okay, this time we've got something a little bit different for you. We have Kathryn Chamberlain from Foster with Peterborough. So Kathryn is going to talk to you all about fostering, what it entails and what you can do. Hi Kathryn.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's
You're welcome.
Really nice to have this opportunity and obviously talk about something that's very important and something that is needed in Peterborough
Yes,
at the moment.
definitely.
You know, we need more local foster carers, so just here to talk a bit about what it's like to foster with Peterborough and if people are thinking about it, how they can contact us and get in touch.
Yeah. Okay, so just how does it work? What's the process? What do people have to do?
So fostering is obviously a term that we hear about. You know, we might know people that foster, or people might have been thinking about it for a long time. And it is supporting children in need. So children that maybe can't be with their families, whether that be mum or dad or family members. There might be all sorts of reasons why that can't be the case. Some obviously more serious than others, but it's about supporting those children while that family receives help, so that hopefully they can be reintegrated back into their, family setting.
Yes.
So it's quite a complex thing, fostering, because there's lots of different types.
I'm sure, yeah.
So quite often we hear things like time-limited fostering, and that's probably the most common one. So that can be for a period of time, usually around 6 months, because that's when the family courts sort of dictate that a child should have a permanent plan.
Okay.
So time-limited fostering around 6 months. We have things like emergency fostering, where there might be a serious situation where a child needs immediate care. So that could be in the middle of the night, for example. Not everyone does emergency fostering straight away. It's quite a big responsibility. We have things like caring for older children, so maybe that have been in foster care and are not quite ready to live independently, but might just need that sort of one-to-one support.
Okay, yeah.
So there's lots of different types, and it's our role to obviously find a type that best suits you and your sort of working commitments and family commitments. So just a little bit of an overview about the different types, but if anyone did contact us, obviously we can go into a lot more detail about that, because we're not going to cover absolutely everything on fostering in this short podcast. But I mean, anyone can foster as long as they are over 21, they have a spare bedroom, and they must be a permanent resident of the UK or have indefinite leave to remain in the UK to offer that stability to children and young people. So that's the three main criteria. So obviously if anyone listening does fit any of those and wants to have a bit more of a chat, then get in touch with us.
Is there what about if someone's working, has a job and they want to foster?
So we have lots of foster carers that work, whether that be that they are single carers and they might still have a full-time job, but it might be that they work school hours, for example. So they might look after children that are school age, so that they can still work alongside looking after younger children. Obviously with older children as well, sort of teens, be a little bit more independent, they don't need that sort of 24/7 sort of care. So it's possible to fit working commitments around fostering as well. And it's our job when people do contact us to explore what the commitments are, what family life looks like, what work life looks like, and try and find an age and type of fostering that would best fit. And the idea is that we want lots of foster carers to offer care for all different ages. So we don't want lots of people just to be looking after under fives, for example, because then obviously if we have older children that we need to be cared for, then it becomes difficult if we only approve people for a certain age. So we do say to people to be quite open, but obviously the number one priority, it has to work for your own family and your own commitments as well.
I'm sure you've got a variety of different ages, children that need fostering.
And there's no sort of pattern to it. Like each week we don't know what situations are going to occur. Some weeks it can be newborn babies, some weeks with siblings, teenagers. It really does just depend. Obviously Peterborough's not a huge place, but it's quite a diverse city as well, so you know, there are sort of demographic differences as well, and we have some challenges. Sibling care is probably the biggest challenge because you need the space.
Yes.
So and we always try and keep siblings together where possible, because obviously we don't want them to sort of lose that connection with one another. But yeah, it does depend on what space you have and obviously what your own commitments are, but hopefully there's something out there that would suit everyone. A lot of our new foster carers start off maybe doing what we call like respite or short break care.
Okay, yes.
So just maybe helping out other foster carers in school holidays, for example, if they're caring for sort of multiple children and they're finding things a bit stretched, and they need some support, then obviously they can help out, maybe just do a week or two or a couple of weekends in a month.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there are lots of options there, and you know, we fully explore that with people when they contact us.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of options what people have got out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have a lot of people from Peterborough come to you?
Yeah, I mean, we are foster with Peterborough, so we are Peterborough City Council's in-house foster service. So when you foster for us, it's for the local authority, so it's different from like an independent agency. And so the majority of our children live in Peterborough, all sort of surrounding villages. We have some foster carers that live in sort of Glinton, Market Deeping, Bourne, just because it's closer to Peterborough than it would be to say Lincoln, which is their main head office, because they obviously come under Lincolnshire. But we say sort of no more than up to an hour maybe, because then it gets complicated if you've got a child that needs to go to school an hour away and you've got to get to work and things like that. So we have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, we have carers sort of outside of Peterborough as well, but not a million miles away, just so it's easier for them to facilitate school drop-offs and visits to family members and things like that. So
so it sounds like there are a lot of options.
Absolutely.
What's the process someone would have to go through?
So we call it 6 steps to fostering. So first of all, you can get in contact with us. We've got email address, website, we have a telephone number, which I'll go through at the end. But that is the first step, to get in contact. So if anyone's thinking about it, maybe the first point of call, have a look at our website. And then once we receive an inquiry from someone, we'll have a bit of a detailed sort of telephone conversation with them, explore what their current circumstances are, what age of children might fit with their, you know, if they're working, and things like that, see what availability they have, because obviously that's really important to be available for foster children, because we need people to obviously provide that stability. So we have a telephone call. If everything's positive and, you know, we want to progress, then we would go around and do a home visit. So we would have a bit more of a chat with how fostering might look for you. If there's children of your own in the home that are happy to speak to us, we might ask how they feel about it as well. Because I think the important thing to remember that fostering is a family approach. Everyone has to be on board, everyone needs to be, you know, supportive of that. So we explore things like that. We talk to people about, you know, their own parenting experience and whether they've had children of their own. It doesn't have to be that you have to be a parent to be a foster carer. We have lots of people that haven't had children of their own that end up fostering. And we take things into consideration like transferable skills. So some people might be teaching, or they might be nursing in children's wards. You know, all of that experience is really valuable. So once we've done the home visit, and if that's positive, then we invite you to apply with us. So you have to fill in some paperwork, unfortunately, but it is limited. We have shrunk it down quite a lot in recent years, so it's not too onerous.
The old paperwork.
Yes. A lot of it's electronic now as well, so you know it's not as onerous as sort of filling in handwritten reams and reams of paper. And so most of our forms are electronic, so we would get you to fill in the application forms. Once that is completed, the next parts are probably the most intensive parts that take the longest. You have to be assessed by a social worker. So somebody else in my team who is fostering trained social worker will undertake a very comprehensive assessment of you. So talking about all the things that we have already discussed in the initial stages, but much more in depth, because we have to do that as part of the process. While that's ongoing as well, we would get you booked onto our approval training. So we have a course called Journey to Foster that everyone has to go on, and that is quite an in-depth course, really. There's a lot of components in there, but things like how to make children welcome in the home, how to be available, supportive, how to deal with maybe behavioural issues, things like that, maybe mental health issues, lots of things. But we are very supportive as a local authority. So I don't want anyone to sort of be scared by anything I've said, because it's all part of the learning curve.
Yeah.
And so once that training course is completed and your assessment's completed, the final step is then to be approved by our local authority fostering panel. So they are independent members of the council and sort of external people that have worked in children's services, and they will read your assessment. They will ask you some questions about how you found the process, what are you most looking forward to about fostering, what are the challenges you think you might come across, and they will just get an idea of you as a person, really.
Yeah.
And they make a recommendation as to whether you think that you should foster or not.
Okay, yeah.
And normally by that stage, if we are going to panel, it's likely that approval will be given, because any sort of concerns, vulnerabilities should be ironed out in the assessment early on.
Yeah.
And if there was ever any reason for an assessment to stop, the social worker would have that conversation with you and explain why we need to maybe put it on a hold, or things like that. So it's quite lengthy, but it's all broken down on the website in our section. It's called 6 Steps to Fostering.
Okay.
So telephone call, initial visit, application and training, and then panel.
Okay, so the 6 steps, I know it probably varies from each family.
Yeah.
But roughly, how long does it take for the 6 steps?
So timescales, what we say from the point of inquiry, would be probably between 4 to 6 months to complete everything. The assessment part and the training part is probably the part that takes the longest. The initial stages, depending on people's availability, for example, if somebody phoned me today, I could probably see them this week for an initial visit. They take priority.
Yeah.
We want obviously to see people as soon as we can to get that process started. But we estimate around 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
from start to finish. So. Yeah.
That sounds really interesting. So I'm hoping the word's going to get out there and someone will contact you.
Hopefully.
If someone wants to contact you, how would they do that?
So we have our fostering recruitment line number. So we have 01733 86 86 86. We have our email address, fosteringteam@peterborough.gov.uk. And we also have our Foster with Peterborough website, which is fosterwithpeterborough.org.uk. So you can contact us in any way that you feel comfortable with. I'm happy for people to telephone, email, website inquiry. If anyone is interested, please do just get in touch. And it might not be that you feel ready to make an inquiry yet, but maybe just want to have a chat. We're really open to people just contacting us and just asking some questions. We also run virtual information sessions each month as well. So that gives a bit of a sort of overview of fostering, goes into a bit more detail about some of the things that I've mentioned today. And all of the dates and times for our information sessions are on the website as well. I'm actually hosting one on the 16th of April, 12:30 to 1:30, all on Teams, all online. You can do it from the comfort of your own home with a cup of tea, with your laptop, and just come along.
That's
and
quite cool, doing the virtual as well, because some people probably find that easier, a bit more helpful as well.
Absolutely, and we are really friendly, supportive. We're really approachable, and we just want people to get in touch, because what we want is we want to rule people in, not rule them out.
Yes.
So if people are sort of sitting there thinking, I'd love to be able to do that, but I don't know if I can, just pick up the phone, have a conversation with us, or come along to one of our virtual sessions and just ask a question, because it might not be that is a red flag. It might be something that we can work with you with, and it might be that there's a different type of fostering that might suit. So we're very open to questions. We want people to be informed, and we want to support people that are thinking about maybe taking this on.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, as I said, a lot of options there.
Absolutely.
It sounds really interesting, and if there's anyone out there that is interested in fostering, or know of anyone that is interested in fostering but don't know how to go about it, then contact Kathryn at Foster with Peterborough. What I'll do is I'll drop your links in the description.
Wonderful.
So then people know how to get hold of you.
Absolutely brilliant.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you, Kathryn.
excellent. Thank you very much.